Hey guys, welcome back to the Bass Wood Carving channel. Hey, today we're going to go over the 5 basic cuts of wood carving. And what you see here is I have a bunch of my practice sticks that when I started carving I messed around with to learn my cuts. And practice sticks are a great way to do a lot of things, so you can practice all your cuts. You can practice noses, different stages of noses, different types of noses. You can practice, evening out your cuts, making sure all cuts are proportionately apart from each other. You can practice eyes. You can practice all kinds of stuff. That's why they call them practice sticks. So, today we're going to just go over the 5 cuts, and we're going to do a little practice stick just to kind of give you an idea of what you can do if you're just now learning. This channel is basically about beginning wood carving and doing quick, simple projects. I like the quick, fast carves, something you can do, in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But I also like the detailed cuts of like a caricature cowboy or something like that too. So both of these skills that you're going to learn with the practice sticks will give you different techniques that you can learn to do, and also you can eventually apply these to some real detailed carvings. All carvings pretty much have 5 basic cuts. That's all you're going to be using whenever you carve. So if you learn these 5 basic cuts and you get good at these 5 basic cuts, then you'll be able to do some really high detailed carving. That's what kind of got me started carving, was going to a carving show. I just popped in on a carving show one day, and I seen all these cowboys and these different intricate caricatures of different faces and everything. I got really excited about carving, and I thought to myself I'd probably never be able to do something that good, but I'm getting better. In 2 years of carving, I've done a few cowboys, which we'll show you later. But it all started out with a basic practice stick. When I went to my first class, after meeting some people at the carving show and learned there was a class in my area, I started taking a class, and the first thing the teacher did was he handed me a block of wood like this, and he said, okay, I'm going to show you 5 cuts, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to take this block of wood and you're going to do these 5 cuts. And this was actually my first practice stick right here. So the cuts are kind of sloppy, but as time went on I got better at doing the cuts and just learn the basics, and that's what it's all about. Once you learn the basics, apply good basics, you'll be a good carver. Some are quicker than others. I'm kind of a slow learner on getting the detail and the real nice smooth look to everything. But that's the beauty of carving. It doesn't have to be perfect. Most of the things that people carve are what we call flat plane carving. So seeing flat spots and rough spots, things like that, actually make the carving look unique. So let's get started with the 5 basic cuts. Now I know there's videos out on YouTube that show you 4 basic cuts, but I'm going to show you an extra cut that I was taught how to do that sometimes is kind of taken for granted, but it's an important cut. So the first thing we're going to do is, when we learn how to hold our knife, is hold it in the hand that if you write with your right hand, or you're probably going to have a right hand cutting motions. So starting off with my right hand, because I'm a right-hander. Obviously if you're a left-hander, you're going to be in this hand. And put on your carving glove. I'm not going to have my carving glove on for this video because most of the time it's easier for you to see what I'm doing without the glove in the way. So this way, we're going to go safe. And that's the other thing about, carving, is once you learn how to do these cuts and use your knife properly, safety, your safety factor increases tremendously. There's less chance you're going to get cut if you're doing your basic cuts correctly and holding the knife correctly. So that's what we're going to do. So I started out with these flex cut knives just because that was what I could get at my woodcraft store, and I bought a set of 3 of them, and these were the ones I started off with, you know, actually going to my classes and learning how to carve. First thing you're going to do is take your knife in your correct hand, your right hand for me, and you're going to put your thumb kind of back here. Some people like the thumb up higher. If you're doing little intricate stuff, you might want your thumb closer to the tip, but for most people, you're going to hold it comfortably in your hand like this. You know, it's kind of the way the knife handle's curved to fit your hand. You'll put your thumb on the back side. That's where you're going to get your pushing motion from. So this first cut is called a push cut. And we're going to take our thumb and we're going to put it back here. Some people like here, some people like right here. After you start carving for a while, you won't even think about how you're holding your knife. It'll just become human nature, you know, muscle memory. So take your knife in your right hand or your correct hand, put your thumb on the back, and this is called a push cut. So we're going to push the knife through and push, just using the edge of the knife. We're going to push and take off little slivers. Start off little, learn how to control the knife doing small short strokes. Okay, this is the push cut. You'll use this cut a lot, especially when you're rounding things out, cleaning up corners. This will probably one of your first most used cut. Okay, so you're just pushing. Like if I want to take the corner off, I'm just going to start here and just push. Okay, and you'll learn a lot about wood grain. As you can see, that just chunked off right there. When I'm pushing this way, I'm going with the grain, so all my cuts are nice and smooth, and I can control the knife better. Remember, control is what's going to keep you from getting cut. All right, when you see it on this end, it's kind of hard to probably see in the camera, but this chunked off of here. It didn't come off smooth, so I'm going the opposite of the grain. Okay, now I can smooth that back out, but what you want to do in those instances is turn the block of wood around and go back with the grain, and you'll see. Okay, so that's called the push cut. The next cut is called a stop cut, and this is the second most used cut you'll probably be doing. And I'm going to take the knife, I'm going to push it down in there. I'm going to push the blade down in there. And it helps too if you can get to the habit of either rocking your wood back and forth, okay, and getting down in there. And depending on how much I want to take out, that'll depend on how deep I make my cut. Sometimes you'll make 3 or 4 cuts to get it to the depth that you want. All right, so then I'm going to push the blade down in there like so, rocking it back and forth to get it down deeper. Then I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to do that same push cut up to the bottom, just like that. Okay, that's called a stop cut. All right, same thing here where I already made a push. And sometimes you got to go back in and clip it again. All right, stop cut into the bottom. Sometimes you come back here if you went a little too deep, push the knife back down in there and make the cut. Sometimes you'll go to the side and clean it up a little bit, pushing down. I can just keep making this as deep as I want to go until I get through the other side of the wood if I want. All right, so stop cut and push cut together. That's how you make that notch. All right, so the next cut is probably one of the almost as important as the push cut, is called a paring cut. All right, and with a paring cut, we're going to pull with our wrist, just like we're peeling a tomato or an apple, just like we're peeling an apple. I'm going to pull towards me. As you can see, I'm kind of rolling my knife in my hand at the same time making a slight wrist motion. This is called a paring cut. Paring cut is what we'll use when we round things too. So we'll turn it and we'll do a push cut. And we'll turn it back around because the grain's going this way. Remember, we're going to do the paring cut. And that's how eventually we'll work on rounding this thing off. All right. So a stop cut, push cut, and a paring cut. All right. Okay. So the next cut we're going to do is a combination of a stop cut. Except I'm going in two different directions, so they call that a V cut. That's called a V cut. So if I want to take and do a stop cut, come in, using the push, then I'm going to turn the wood around, and I'm going to come back in at the same angle and push into the bottom of that stop cut. And that's called a V cut. V cut. Okay, so one more time. I'm going to do the stop cut. Thumb on the back of the blade. Rocking it in. Push up. Turn it around. Same motion. Into the bottom. And make a V. You use this cut when you make noses and eyes. This is an important cut for doing different contours when you want to make something. Like eventually we can take this down and we can just start rounding that off, and then eventually we'll have a little concave with a round edge. All right, so again, these are all just basic techniques, and if you're already wood carving, this is probably boring to you, but if you're just learning how to carve, this is something that's imperative to wood carving. And when I first started carving, I didn't know anything about these cuts. I didn't know there was I just seen my grandpa whittling away on a stick with his pocket knife and didn't even know that there was these different cuts that I could make. And that's how they achieve their caricatures or whatever you're carving, whatever you like to carve. You know, like I said, I did quick carves. I like quick carves, things that I can do that are fast and simple. And there's a ton of those little quick carves on YouTube. So those are kind of some of the things I'm hoping to bring to you in the beginning when you're learning how to carve. You know, so imperative to being a good carver. Okay, so the last fifth cut is going to be, it's called a triangle cut, and you're going to use this a lot of times when you want to create some depth and some shadow, some three-dimensional look. Okay. Also, if you do research on carving, you'll find out that in carving, there's a style called chip carving, and that's where they use just a lot of this cut right here. It's just called a triangle cut. So on a triangle cut, I'm going to take my knife. Let me draw you a little thing on here so you can kind of see better how I'm doing it. All right, I'll make a little triangle right here. Okay, and we're going to take the knife and we're going to come in at the tip and we're going to push down deeper, and then we're going to kind of roll the blade back and come to the top of our wood right here. So the cut is actually deeper here and comes more shallow here. All right, so turn it around. I'm going to go, and I'm trying to do this so you can see. I'm going to go deep here at the point. And come out to the top. Deep and up. All right. So the third part of this cut is going to be, I'm going to take this tip and I'm going to start this corner and I'm going to work to that corner. And then I'm going to come back and go from this corner back up to that corner. So I take the knife in because I don't want to go real deep right here. I want kind of a 3-dimensional depth. All right, down. I'm going to come back here. And I'm going to cut with a paring cut. I'm going to come back in to there. And this is probably one of the most trickiest cuts you'll do at first to get right. Okay. Sometimes you just got to go in and clean up on it a little bit. All right, so we're going here and down. And again, I'm trying to keep this so you can see what we're doing here. Just clean this out. Alright, so you can see it's deeper at the tip. At the point, it's deeper, and then comes to shallow. Alright, and I can just keep going back and cleaning that up. Till I get the depth of it. Alright, one more time without drawing it. See if I can do it towards this camera. We're going to go down, deeper, down, coming out as we get to the top, and then we're going to come in, like so. Then we can come back. And normally I'm not laying this on the table. I'm usually holding it up close to me. So it's a little awkward. But that's what you're trying to achieve right there. Chip cut or triangle cut. And you'll use these like in the corners of eyes, under the nose, corners of the nose. You'll see different places where we use this cut once we start actually carving some stuff. All right. So there you go. All right, real quick review. Bush cuts, stop cuts, and V cuts. Back down. Okay, paring cut. Pulling towards your thumb, keeping your thumb behind the piece of wood. Okay, and the triangle cut or chip cut. In. And the triangle cut. Or chip cut. Okay, so those are your 5 cuts. get yourself a piece of wood, a little block of wood. Usually just find you a scrap. If you've been cutting up some basswood on your saw, you always have little pieces left over, and a piece that's just narrow. But you can use just about anything for a practice stick. Here's some of the ways I've used one of my little practice sticks here is working on my little detail cuts. When you start doing cowboys and things like that, you'll really work on different types of cuts that'll add texture and depth and design to your cowboy. So this was just a little thing that my teacher was showing me how to make some cuts, detail cuts, and basically I'm just using those techniques that I just showed you, the 5 basic cuts in the wood carving. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was short, and I know everybody's probably anxious to get started carving something. So in our next video, we're going to have a project to carve, and it'll be a simple project, and we'll be working on symmetry, symmetry and shapes, on doing just a little block of wood. But stay tuned, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. At this time, if you haven't, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. We're going to do all kinds of different little quick fun projects at first, and I hope you guys will stick along for the ride with us. If you're new to wood carving, these first videos are going to be geared towards you, and eventually we'll be into some really complicated stuff and some really cool looking stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and you can always visit our website at basswoodcarving.com, and there are usually supplemental articles to each video. So check us out and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we put up a new video. All right, thank you guys.